Trevor Baker Jr., and I play Denise Miller. And you're listening to Pod Against Evil. Yeah.
And welcome to Pod Against Evil! Oh my goodness, guys. It is a special one today. Today it is, Travis, I don't want to overblow it today, but episode 3 of season 3 might be my favorite episode of Stand Against Evil.
Really? More than ponies?
It could be more than Werepony.
Wow.
I don't know how I feel about it. We'll see afterwards, and compare and contrast after we're done this episode, and we'll see where I'm at.
See, I thought that you were just excited because you have like a living corpse with you right now.
Mm-hmm. But yes, this is episode 3, Larva, My Life. It is the kaiju episode.
It's amazing.
It is amazing in all ways, and who's talking about how amazing he is? Why, it's me, Nick the Merc with a mic, your host, and my co-host over here,
Travis,
the god of the pod himself.
Who's dying?
That is dying. Travis is very sick.
Gods are immortal, Travis.
I don't know if that means I can still get sick or not, because I am definitely sick.
Yeah. Immortals, I don't think, can get sick.
Okay.
Yeah. They can walk underneath water if they can't swim, though.
So does that mean I'm the demigod of the pod, then?
You're the demigod of the pod. You are somewhat more mortal than one would be led to believe from previous recordings.
That's awful.
The mythological hero of the pod.
And who is that on the mic there?
Hi!
That is chiming in. Why it is, of course, when we are speaking of giant kaiju battles that could lead to such doom of Willard's Mill, we need someone who regularly deals in doom. We have a member of the Doom Patrol podcast here with us today. It is Patience. Patience, say hello.
Hello, everybody. I am Patience.
So
this
Patience,
is true.
This is your first time for Pod Against Evil, a proper episode. You were on before, just discussing your love of it when you discovered it before. But yeah, we've recorded together for Netflix and Kill and stuff. I think it's gone back like we've known each other more than a year now, probably.
Something like that, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Feels like forever in the best kind of way.
I know. Nick and I met under such great circumstances where we recorded commentary track for Deep Blue Sea together. That was the first time we met, and we immediately were like, I like you. I like you too. Let's hang out.
Well,
and then, of course...
What really sealed it was that there was an argument about Congo during the commentary, and we were both like, fuck you, Congo is amazing. And
anyone who doesn't like Congo can, suck it.
And it was like stepbrothers from them. Did we just become best friends? I think we did.
We made bunk beds. It was amazing.
The gorillas are bind us to make us brothers.
They have the open eye. They are watching us.
Stop eating my sesame cake. Okay,
this is not a podcast about Congo. Sorry. I'm sorry. I want to so badly. Yeah. Okay. Stand Against Evil. Woohoo!
But yet, yes, Patience, you are a constant contributor of oneofus.net, specifically for Doom Patrol, the podcast there. So that also now has its own iTunes channel.
We do. We are an explicit podcast, Deliberations of Doom, and Doom. We're on iTunes. I love you guys so much. We're on iTunes. We're on our website, oneofus.net. We're on YouTube. I mean, there's no reason not. We're free. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about Larva, My Life.
Yes, we absolutely must eventually talk about Stand Against Evil, so might as well be now. Is everybody ready?
Let's do this.
Okay, so we open on 303 of a stock shot of a city, which
maybe Willard's Mill, we don't know.
I know this for sure because the Chiron has told me so. These funny Chirons we have running through the episodes, they are my favorites. I love these things. So everyone, the residents of Willard's Mill are all going about their life. They are happy as can be. They are happy as a clam, one would say. There's businessmen talking on phones, women rolling strollers down the street, two friends talking to each other and laughing hysterically while being multicultural, so that their friendship is even more special for whatever reason. It's like a Hallmark stock photo in this piece.
But given that it's Willard's Mill, we must ruin it.
But of course, yes. And we see what appears to be a giant gorilla attack the poor residents of Willard's Mill. And we see, now this is interesting, is that as everyone is freaking out, there's a quick cut of a fallen telephone pole and people running in a panic, which is actually from later in the episode. They use this shot like a couple times in the after this, and then they sneak it in here with like this fallen telephone pole that obviously has not fallen.
Right.
So I'm not sure why this shot is here, other than it's an homage to kaiju films where they would reuse stock footage and shots, and the continuity would not exactly match. I know I'd actually have my example is not from a kaiju film, but from Power Rangers, the first episode, when the Rangers first transform, and they transform in a desert, but yet after they come out of the transformation sequence, they're in a city for no reason. Which...
Look, they had budgets, leave them alone.
So, yeah, whether intentional or not, I find it hilarious and appropriate. Anyway.
I think in a similar vein, like, that even the new Voltron, just like the old Voltron, they do the same thing. Every time they like, become the giant lion, or every time they become Voltron, they reuse the exact same footage every single time. And you're just like, okay, really?
Well, don't get me started on Voltron and how they cut corners in that fucking show. Just like using a panel screen with like kind of 3D and sort of action, because we don't have quite enough of a budget to be Avatar: The Last Airbender, but we're almost there. Anyway, what we're talking about?
I've gotten off topic.
Stand Against Evil. So yes, the gorilla turns out to not be giant-sized,
and not quite be a gorilla.
He was just being shot from a low angle. This is Lenny, the town gorilla, which is a concept that is explained to us by the ever-knowledgeable Leon Drinkwater.
Well, no, didn't you know, Nick? Every town has a gorilla. Every gorilla has the same story.
Oh my god, okay. This conversation is amazing. Like, it is so deadpan serious of, like, Nate Mooney killing it in this speech where he's just delivering this exposition like it's no big deal. Like every town has this town gorilla, and it's like, oh, let me tell you the story of Lenny the gorilla. Well, he used to be the #1 birthday party gorilla, which is also another concept that I don't understand. Did you have gorillas at your birthday parties?
No.
Every once in a while we might have a clown, maybe.
If you were unlucky.
Was this a thing before the 90s? I don't know. But yes, he used to be the #1 birthday party gorilla until Sally O'Brien. Sally O'Brien, that little rascal, she was a rebel. She wanted a princess at her party. And even though everyone thought she was crazy, they had the party, princess killed it, and all of a sudden, no market for birthday gorillas. The economy just dried up. Like that.
Pretty sad story.
I'm surprised you haven't heard it by now.
I don't know. I bet every town's got a gorilla, and every gorilla has the same story.
I love the gorilla conversation. It's so nonsensical, and it only comes back later in the plot for the most random of reasons. Yep. And it's just fantastic. I love it. Anyway, where should they end up after this brilliant walk and talk? They end up at Tucker Fong's Curiosity Bodega, or Pagoda?
I don't remember, to be honest.
Either way,
I think it's
what is it?
Bodega?
Bodega.
I was just saying, I love the fact that it was an erotic bakery called Caligula's Fist.
Yes.
So, yes, this shop has sprung up in the place that used to be the erotic bakery, which was named Caligula's Fist. Ew. Evie apparently will miss their sticky buns. Double ew. Like, even if they were good, like, that means that at one point you had to be brave enough to actually purchase things called sticky buns from a place named Caligula's Fist.
That's an erotic bakery, so what do they look like?
Woo! No thank you. Like, if I'm ordering anything in Caligula's Fist, it's going to be the driest thing ever. Not the stickiest or moistest or whatever. Like...
Or anything with buns in the name.
Like, if gun to my head, I had to pick an erotic bakery item, it's an erotic cookie, I guess. Like,
Are you sure you don't want Caligula's Long John?
Oh, man, I preferred Caesar's scone, if we're going to go with the Roman... Extra, no.
I don't know if they're both shaped like dicks.
Yeah, anyway, now I'm just thinking of the marketing opportunities. Maybe Caligula's Fist is not as most ridiculous idea as I have thought. We'll get back to you on it. The bear claws have actual handcuffs on them. Anyway, I love this place, the Curiosity Bodega. It has a bunch of creepy stuff in it. When we were watching it, I made the joke, while they were going around, I was like, I wonder if there's a mogwai in the background,
my god, I said the exact same thing!
Which is great, because I love it when you make a joke and then the creators decide that, hey, that is also funny, and they make the joke later, because they totally make fun of how stereotypically Asian this place is later. Including our Tucker Fong himself. Yeah, he is concerned about Evie's purchase, wants to make sure she makes the right purchase. She's looking for something for her daughter. Okay, pop quiz, no one look at their phones. What is Evie's daughter's name?
Brenna, Jace, Brianna, I don't know.
Brianna Tar. Patience, what is Evie's daughter's name?
Bridget?
None of you were even close.
I mean, she wasn't in any of season 2 almost, so it's
she's almost in none of the episodes. And it's the running joke in the podcast is whether or not Evie even has a daughter today. Her
Allison?
name, none of you are even. It's Grace. Grace is her name.
I don't believe you.
Oh,
prove it to me.
And I did have to look it up when I was writing my notes because I legitimately did not remember. In fact,
because she was in.
It's her birthday party in the next 2 days, and she doesn't even appear in this episode. So,
that's true.
I love this phantom daughter. I really hope that at one point we actually see that there was some sort of event in a previous season, and Evie is actually taking care of a ghost.
Jeez, that's
morbid. Or a poltergeist or something, or that Grace isn't real, or with all the time travel that she's just blinked out of existence and only Evie remembers. But ghost daughters aside,
I also feel that Evie should know better than to walk into this building.
So Evie is, before she discovers Fong, she is looking through the wares of the shop. This is fantastic because it totally reminds me of Cabin in the Woods, where they have, pick your own symbol of death or destroyer, because next to the mushroom bug, which will feature in this episode, or mushroom moth, the moth mushroom,
the evil toadstool,
the M&M, as we'll call it, there's a unicorn to the side, which I'm like, oh my god. Are you saying if we randomly picked the unicorn, that a unicorn would have come and killed them? Or that
I would like to think it's a were-unicorn.
Or Kenny would turn into a unicorn, thereby having a face-off with the other previous rival for Evie's affections, Russell Horse Guy Ponyman, the were-pony, to where we'd see a were-pony and a were-unicorn fucking duke it out. I'm just saying, this episode's great, could have been amazing. No, it is amazing. Could have been just slightly better, because I would totally watch a were-pony versus were-unicorn fight. I
didn't even know I needed that until right now, though.
Yeah, I'm sorry to disappoint you, because you will never get it.
I mean, there's that whole, there's some mythology where unicorns are basically violent to anything besides virgins. Well, we could have him meet Denise.
They're a bitch in a cabin in the woods. It totally impales that guy. Which reminds me, I really wish there was a conch somewhere in the background, just so that we could get that.
A merman, yeah.
I just want to see a merman, man. He had the conch in his hand. God damn it.
Why does the merman never win? God. Fine.
Oh yeah, the shopkeeper is played by Daniel Kang as well, and I believe he plays the shopkeeper later as well, as in both roles, one in old age makeup and one without the makeup, because they just list him as shopkeeper in IMDb, which I assume means both, like because they don't say old shopkeeper or young shopkeeper,
Right.
So I'm assuming it is both of them, but it's very heavy makeup. So I could be wrong. We are interrupted for Evie picking out a gift because Fong wants to give the mushroom moth as a gift to Stan or to her angry friend.
Right.
It's not for your daughter. It's for your friend.
For my friend?
Angry man. Always yelling.
Oh, how do you know Stan?
She knew exactly who he was talking about, and I like that she even was like, oh yeah, Stan's my friend. That's my friend. So kind of nice on one level and funny on the other.
And a little sad because it's probably her only friend.
Well, I mean, we'll go through Evie's self-esteem issues as the season goes on, but I feel like that is the dynamic of, like, you know, not getting along with Stan, but like the approval that she might get one day from Stan really keeps her going. Anyway, Fong looks in the back for a gift for Evie, but they get called away because Lenny is in front of the post office yelling about getting the band back together, which, of course, that doesn't seem
There's
anything.
nothing illegal about that.
Nothing wrong with that, except for, he's also having sex on the mailbox, which is not good. So they run off to deal with that. I loved Leon. He actually, while Evie was messing with stuff, he took this thing and like scratched his back with it. He's fucking around with, you know, that like almost everything in here is cursed, right? Like, and they live in a cursed town. They're all like, there's witches everywhere. And yet again, we have another scene where no warning bells have gone off with all this creepy shit. Like, you figure one of these times they just see like, oh, a curiosity shop. Is that a monkey's paw?
Let's burn it down.
Yeah, let's get out of here. That's not great. So we exit the shop, but before they can go and deal with the post office... No, wait. They actually go deal with the post office thing.
So let me get this straight. In your America, a fake gorilla and a mailbox can't get together. Good to know. Good to know.
You know what? I agree with you, Lenny. There should be free love.
No.
As long as that mailbox was consenting, which I don't think...
Exactly.
actually, it was probably belonged to the Postal Service, so it wasn't a personal mailbox. So, yeah, you might be screwed. In fact, that might be a federal offense, considering it's the post office and a federal building.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think of that.
Lenny might be screwed.
Yeah.
Now I think about it, this episode might have a dark ending. And yeah, who should we hear? I hear a yelling of a pathetic man.
Oh, so pathetic.
Yes, and it's whispering in the air on the wind. Oh my goodness, it's Kenny yelling for help in a odd way.
Sheriff! Help!
Oh, no.
Help!
What is his approach here? Is he trying to make a joke because she's sheriff? Is he actually screaming for help in a real way? There's a lot that it confuses me about Kenny. Anyway, he's back for Grace's birthday. He is also following a band on tour, which is
His new girlfriend.
Yeah, the
Indigo Girls.
The Indigo Girls.
Who are notoriously in a relationship. They've been in a relationship forever.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is... So you're saying Kenny's chances might not be that great.
I'm saying that Kitty doesn't make really good decisions. And I love the fact that right after this, he goes to Stan and takes Grace's birthday present to Stan, as well as the mushroom, the M&M to Stan as his present. And Stan's just like, oh, what are you doing here? I don't even like you from the last time. Mm-hmm. And then they end up doing all these shots together. And then he's like, okay, I'm tired of you. Get out. We can only hang out with Kenny for short periods of time.
Yeah, no one can stand Kenny for very long.
He's awful.
Because, after he presents the first idea he has for Grace's birthday present, her key to her very own storage unit, which is his storage unit that he's been living in. Evie, like, okay, just go take credit for the gift I was going to give her, which is pretty standard, like, you know, responsible one in the co-parenting situation with the deadbeat dad. Pretty typical move of just like, okay, she's going to be disappointed if you don't have a present, so go take credit for my present. Pretty selfless act on Evie's part. I do like where she was doubting him at first because she was like asking him like, "What'd you get her? What'd you get her?" And I was like, she's like, Kenny's a dog. What'd you get her, boy? What'd you get her? Oh, nothing? No, there is no stick. Dumbass dog.
Say hi to your motherfucker.
I wasn't doing the Mark Wahlberg then.
You kind of were just a little bit. What'd you get her? What'd you get her, boy?
Hey, what'd you get your daughter? Huh? Nothing? Oh, that's because you're a loser, right? Say hi to your motherfucker. Oh, that's right. She hates me. Anyway, we can't do a recording without patience where I don't do a fucking Mark Wahlberg impression.
It's true.
I love this next part where she run into Stan. Stan opens the door. Kenny gives a big old dude, and Stan's like, "I'm not home." Slams that door.
Why does Stan even open his door?
He doesn't. He never seems like. I feel like he opens it in the hope that it'll be someone he wants to see, but yet there's no one in the town that he particularly likes. That he likes see showing up. When Evie shows up, it's because there's a huge fucking problem he's got to deal with. So I get why he's not a super jazzed when she shows up. And when anyone else shows up, it's basically just another responsibility of him, a social responsibility to chat with this person that he's not into. So yeah, good eye on like, I'm not sure why opening the door. But they end up drinking because apparently Kenny is a drug addict? Was that in the previous episode? I do not remember it.
Different thing.
Yeah, well, he's what's it called? Drug sobriety. It's where you can, you don't do drugs, but you can still drink.
I thought it was drunk sobriety.
Oh, was it drunk sobriety?
I think it was drunk sobriety.
I don't have the script here, but you know what? It's funny either way.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of like drunk sobriety better, that's really funny to me. So I actually hope it is drunk sobriety. I'm not even going to check. It's officially headcanon. I'm hearing it as drunk sobriety from now on.
That's what I thought it was both times I watched the show. So.
Okay. But yeah, that reminds me of the Community joke where Jeff's friend is like, he's like, he meets him like after AA, like he tells him he was in AA, but then asks him to go get a shot. Like, wait, can you? It's like, yeah, I quit doing blow, not being rad. And so they get drunk, and of course, Kenny presents Stan with his gift, the M&M.
I made this for you. I'm not gonna lie. With these hands, I have a porcelain tree.
I'll tell you what, this is half and half for me. This feels kind of like a drunk performance, but it also has smidges of people that are violently high on weed. Like, just...
I was gonna say, like, they're smokers, right? They gotta be.
Well, they cut back and we don't see them drink, but we get the sense that they have been drinking. But drunk usually is kind of like, not like this. Like, it's hard to describe, different levels of fucked up, I guess, because I don't read drunk, like, it would be more like, oh, here's your present. I spent all week picking it up for you. Yeah, it's for you. It's like that. Like a lot less effort in your lie, I guess. And in this one, it's like, there's some creativity behind it. Like, I have a porcelain tree. And that's creative center of your brains only get activated under, like, pot smoking, I think, of like that. Oh yeah, it sounds like a good idea, but it's just nonsense. But either way, Stan's like, I don't want it. And I like that they're whispering this entire conversation as well. It's like, oh, can I have it? Yeah, consider it my gift to you. Oh, yeah. And I love his next move here because he's like, well, I just wanted to stop by and say hello. And he walks off and you think like, oh, I wonder where he's already asleep in the bed, isn't he?
In Denise's room.
In Denise's room.
Although that couldn't be Denise's room because it didn't have any creepy dolls.
No fugglers yet. I believe that's in the next episode.
She did talk about how it was her room, even though it was inconsistent with what we've seen her room look like before. Because before, with the beanbag episode where she filled the beanbag full of water, and then it's like, that's one of my favorite episodes ever. The one with the Carney guy.
Jeffrey Combs?
Yeah. I think it's episode 4 of season 2. And so that's a different room. So she has multiple rooms in this house, I think we've determined. Because she did say it was her room, but at the same time, her other room was different in previous episodes.
She could have redecorated. Like, maybe we...
No, because her room was upstairs before, and this was downstairs.
Whoa, oh. Wait, was it downstairs?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was downstairs.
Unless they went up... did they go upstairs later in the episode, or is this... No, it's on the first floor, right?
Yeah.
Man, now I'm struggling with geography of this whole show. You're blowing my mind, Patience.
The continuity is collapsing. Run!
Not that it's a big deal.
On the first floor of their minds.
You sound like Nick Cage.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he crashes into Denise's room and he says some random shit, which is hilarious. Because what he says is, don't shave my head and paint me. So I got to see this episode actually when it screened at New York Comic Con for the panel. And I got to see the Q&A afterwards with Dana Gould, Janet Varney, and John C. McGinley. And Dana Gould said that, like, he got a question about some of his favorite lines in the episode, and he said, this one, what Kenny mumbles here is what one of his college roommates used to mumble anytime he got super drunk. Because one time when they got super drunk, they shaved his head and painted on his shirt something, which I can only assume was super vulgar or something. And so after that, anytime he would get drunk and pass out, right before he'd pass out, he'd mumble, don't shave my head and paint me. So I love that there's just a little continuity of just like a real moment captured by David Ketchner from whoever this drunk college person was. But things quickly go south because Denise comes home and she asks why there's a man in her room. And after being explained to that's Evie's ex-husband, that's Kenny, she goes like, yeah, but why are there cobwebs?
Why is he covered in cobwebs?
Which Stan goes like, that's probably not great. I should probably check that out. And yeah, there are cobwebs everywhere. And I love their move here because they don't try and help out Kenny at all out of that.
I wouldn't.
They just like run out the door to try and get out of there. But who do they run into? They run into... I don't know the names of these people. They mention, like, Kenny says their names later in the episode, like what he has named them. It's like BB and EB or something. And I rewatched it like 3 times to try and catch it, and I still don't know what he said. But so we will dub them the Bad Dub Twins. They're the chicks from Mothra. They're the Mothra reference. And welcome back. Sorry for any of those technical difficulties.
I unfortunately had to take a few moments to wrap myself in silk into a cocoon and reemerge.
And he has reemerged as the beautiful Travis Pillar that's in front of you. Good.
Also, I might be eating you.
Yes, but we are back, and we are still, of course, talking about 303 here after our rejoinder. Where did we leave off here? That's right, we left off at the Bad Dub Twins, which, of course, are a very fun kaiju reference I love their little hop into the Stan residence of just like, they walk in like, wee, and then like do a little hop, which is fun. It turns out like there's a whole bunch of the cobwebs over Kenny now, and it turns out no, it's not quite cobwebs, it's silk. Mm-hmm. He is being cocooned in silk, and he is becoming a larva, and will soon achieve perfection and become a Kenny moth hybrid creature,
Kothra.
And so say the Bad Dub Twins. And they're basically just waiting for the transformation, I guess. And Denise is not having it. She leaves and is like, well, I'm going to be leaving. I assume I'll get my room back when I'm back. Like, where are you going? Oh, I'm going to the miniature Willard's Mill opening ceremony.
Because the town want to be known for something other than death.
Right. So, for burning people alive.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. So being burned alive is not good enough for him, huh? Everybody liked it fine back in my day.
Which, pretty good. Oh, I forgot to, in the before Denise comes in, he actually gives Evie a call. A very short, how could I forget how much detail this call goes into?
Anyway, your ex-husband's here uninvited again, and he's turning into a caterpillar. No, that's it. Hasta luego.
For Stan, that is a lot of detail. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, get the fuck over here. Come on.
Come deal with this shit.
And I love that, like, after the little exchange for Denise, Evie just rockets in like, oh, what's going on? Like, and Stan just gives this look like, how did you, wow.
Like, was she standing outside his door or what?
Like, either that or Evie can really hoof it when she needs to. Anyway, we come back into Denise's room and get our first look at Larva Kenny, which is a great effect. It turns out he has some form of control over the Bad Dub twins.
Well, he can make them fight.
And wrestle!
No, it's okay. We don't need to see them wrestle.
I'm a big wrestling guy.
I love his reasoning here of like, he just calmly explaining like, oh, well, you know, I'm gonna eat Stan, and then you're gonna join me in my cocoon, and we're gonna make a beautiful moth together. I'm not sure what he means by that. If he means like Cronenberg's The Fly, where they're gonna make a Jeff Goldblum hybrid creature, or like they're just gonna live in the cocoon together. But like, it's
creepy. Like, no matter how you slice it.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, yeah, I'm not gonna get in your cocoon. And I love Kenny's response here because he's like, you're already in my cocoon. This whole house is my cocoon. And then he has this great laugh.
Yes. I love the laugh.
Which is like a great laugh by David Ketcher. It's really good. Now, do you think that the transformation here is a reflection of Kenny, like that he's changing into this kind of pathetic larval creature because of his personality, and that had it affected Stan, he would have turned into something else? Probably, or is it just it was always going to be a moth creature, given it was the statue and the moth creature? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, it did have the moth on the toadstool, so I mean, it might have just been more like sped up if it was Stan. Be like, no, we're just going right to the moth. We're going to skip the middle steps because Stan's not pathetic.
Mm-hmm. Let's see, where did they go? Oh, that's right. They
well, I believe the Bad Dub twins then say like, you can never escape.
Yes,
and then they do.
They're going to leave They're gonna leave the house to go and try and find the demon that sold them the item in the first place, and the Bad Dub twins come show up and are like, you can never escape, and then Stan just pushes past them.
We should change that to, you can escape, but only if you want to. Well, I guess we should tell him. Or not. I don't really feel like it. Yeah, I'm not into it.
So I love when they return to the shop here.
What used to be Klugel's Fest.
What used to be Klugel's Fest and is now the Tucker Fong's Curiosity Bodega. And they come back, and it turns out just some guy running the store. I mean, an Asian guy, but like, it's like...
Who may or may not be the same person dressed in makeup?
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure, like, the voice sounds very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So, I love that they're like, hey, where's the other guy? Like, what other guy? I own the shop. Like, no, the old Asian guy with the mustache and the hat and the silk robes.
Oh, that's our sister store, Tired Asian Stereotypes. It's just down the block.
Wow, what?
What did he try to do? Sell you a gremlin?
I love the passive-aggressive shopkeeper here.
Well, I mean, I feel like I would react very similarly. Be like, no, fuck off.
And I love this too because when we were watching it, I think I mentioned this previously of like the
gremlin line.
And he's like, did he try and sell you a gremlin?
Yeah.
And I was just like, so I really do love the store owner here because, you know, what was it like? Stan is trying to get under his skin.
Well, Evie, he's got a point. You're same old Japanese guy from those kung fu movies, huh?
Kung fu's Chinese.
The same thing.
No, it's not.
I know, Dad. Just trying to make him lose his cool so that he'll reveal whether or not he's a demon.
I'm not a demon.
Oh, yeah? Huh? Only one way to figure out whether you're a demon or not, because a demon had never let me do this.
And then Stan proceeds to do something that you would find out of, like, the actual witch trials, where we'd be like, hey, if you don't drown, that means you're a witch.
Mm-hmm. So he punches this guy in the face. Like, we cut to him, just his nose bleeding. And Drinkwater has shown up, and the guy is pressing charges against Stan. It's like, well, now we know he's not a demon. And it's like, you punched me in the face!
Yeah, if you were a demon, you wouldn't let me punch you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
I love too, like they trying to leave, like, oh, I think I know how to go. You know, we got to go back into Claire's room to figure out how to break this curse. So I bet you we can figure it out that way. And I was like, okay. And then Stan's like, wait, hey, Leon is like, hey, I gotta, file this report.
No, Leon, you don't need to file a report. This gentleman has done absolutely nothing wrong.
No, against you.
This is impressive too, because it is actually like Leon doing his job like he's supposed to.
And I love Stan just keeps back and forthing with him, like with this this verbal tennis of like, well, I'm assuming if he apologizes, I'm willing to let the whole thing go.
It's very who's on first type of deal going on.
And what do you mean you assaulted me? Like, you know what? I'm going to be the bigger man and just walk away. Lovely. It's just like, what the? And I really love the effort Stan goes through to not get pinned down by this and to just like get out of the situation. And they make it to the house, this is the before that, because we actually go into the Denise karaoke line. Now for this, we're actually going to cut to someone, the man behind the reference here, Dana Gould, and ask him a little bit about the Denise karaoke because it is a fascinating story involving, believe it or not, Frankenstein of many things. And we had a great conversation with him, so we're going to cut to that right after this. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. We have a very special guest with us today.
The source of all the evil?
Well, he's also the source of all the stuff that's against evil.
True.
He is also one of our favorite gravediggers, or graveskeepers. Whatever the official title is. We have the one, the only, Dana Gould. Dana, say hi.
Hi, everybody. I prefer excavation engineer.
Ooh, that's a great title. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a stripper, I'm an exotic dancer. I like it.
Exactly. Excavationist.
Mm-hmm. Dana, I'm so happy to have you on the show. We love your show, and we love talking about it, and we are excited to talk about it with you. So... Since you are just jumping in with us here, where we left off in this episode, 303 Larva My Life, Stan is just punched the current owner of the Mystic gift shop in the face to prove that whether or not he was a demon.
As you do.
So we have
as one does.
Well, I mean, it's not an unsound theory. Like it's
it's more proactive than they usually are.
Mm-hmm. I love this next scene, though, because we transition away from that to this great musical number with one Deborah Baker Jr. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about this, Dana, because this is a reference to a certain Japanese film, War of the Gargantuas, which...
Yes, thank you for knowing that.
So... I love the story behind War of the Gargantuas. Travis, are you familiar with War of the Gargantuas?
I cannot say I am.
So, War of the Gargantuas
Travis, why are we even talking to you?
Again, I'm being held hostage. I've informed you of this before.
So, get this. War of the Gargantuas is actually a sequel film to another kaiju film.
Called Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Frankenstein Conquers the World.
Amazing.
So it is see now
but
you
want
to
really it's okay. I'll interrupt. You go ahead. I get excited.
Well, now it's been a while since I've watched the movies, but as I remember, the gargantuas of said film are spawned off from the previous remains of the previous monster, which was Frankenstein, in which Japanese doctors got the heart. They got the heart of Frankenstein's monster and hit it with radiation, which made it grow back and also big.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
No, you following this?
Yeah, no, I got it.
Gotcha. Okay, so he also tears up the city until being either, depending on the cut you watch, he is dragged down by either a earthquake or a giant octopus. Depending on the cut.
Right. And in the meantime, he fights Baragon.
Yes, which is... Does that mean he's in the Godzilla universe?
Yes, he is. Well, yeah, because Baragon's in the Godzilla universe.
Right.
And as you know, I'm sure you know, that King Kong versus Godzilla began as King Kong versus Frankenstein. And it found its way through many permutations to be King Kong versus Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. So
it was originally going to be started in America with a producer had this idea. They're going to do King Kong versus Frankenstein. Giant Frankenstein fighting King Kong. He went to Willis O'Brien, and who did the special effects for King Kong. He said, I want to do this idea. Willis O'Brien said, great, let's do it. And then I think it was RKO or somebody said, wait, you don't have the rights to King Kong. And then so they stepped in, and then he started developing it with RKO. And then they found out later, wait, no, you don't have the rights either. And by this time, they were involved in Japan, and Frankenstein was tied up by Universal, so they made a King Kong versus Godzilla. The long story short, in perfect Hollywood fashion, there's this guy that never had the rights to King Kong. He tried to make a movie with King Kong. He went to one guy who thought he had the rights. He didn't have the rights. He went to another guy who thought he had the rights, and he didn't have the rights. But the only guy that made money was the guy that never had the rights. The only guy that never had a say is the only guy that stayed with the project all the way through. It's just a great Hollywood story.
Wow.
Oh man, that does that sounds so. I just love this franchise.
That's how showbiz works.
Yeah, and I love the fact that there's the Universal movie monsters seem to share the same universe as Godzilla at some point.
Yeah.
That makes me excited for further crossovers. I'm not sure when they'll do get on it, but I want to see Vampire versus Mothra. Let's go. Let's see. Let's get the Wolfman. A giant Wolfman fighting King Ghidorah. There's opportunities to be had.
Or just like the regular Wolfman fighting Ghidorah, and
yes.
It's about a 3-second movie.
Yeah, it's over really fast. It's a short movie. But yes, there's the scene that you're referencing here, if I'm correct, is the song sequence in War of the Gargantuas. I believe the title of the song is "The Words Get Caught in My."
I believe it's "The Words Get Stuck in My Throat."
Get stuck in my throat, right?
And it's a very. I mean, there's something about all those Toho films from the late '60s. And especially where the Gargantuas has it, Monster Zero has it,
mm-hmm.
And oddly, You Only Live Twice, the James Bond film, which was shot at Toho at the same time with all the same actors. When I was a kid, I wanted to live there. There's just something about the color, and it was all
vaguely tiki themed. And the clothes were great. It was the 60s hadn't really caught hold yet. And so it looked just so cool. The whole world looked like an Elvis movie. And, and I just wanted to live in that nightclub with those cool, globe lights. And it was just great. And I love the idea that this crazy kaiju movie stops for this musical interlude. They go and they do not let go of that song. They just hang on the whole the movie must have been short. And it's not a great song. Well, I would say it's not a great song, but it sticks in your head.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it is a great song.
When I watched it the first time, I actually had the experience of, oh man, this song isn't very good. But the more it went on, the more fascinated I got with it. And I was
the woman is really, the woman that sings it is kind of interesting. It's all very strange. But that song has been covered by Devo and a punk band called Dump. And Dump's cover is really good, actually. The Dump cover is really good. I have it on one of my Halloween compilations that I give to people. So when we decided to do a kaiju salute, which was, I think it's a real breakout episode for the show, because it is making the show what I really wanted it to be, which is a vehicle to sort of parody all of this stuff that I love, but still keep it within the mythology of the show. I mean, this show is really structured like a Simpsons episode, in the sense that at the end of the episode, we're in a crazy, crazy, crazy place, but everything tracks logically. We got there completely logically, which I love. And I thought, well, if we're going to do a kaiju episode, we have to have a parody of the words "get stuck in my throat." Mm-hmm. And Eben Schletter, who's our composer, who knows all this stuff, he was playing me the music, and he's one of us, and he's like, okay, so this cue, this is more like Godzilla versus the Smog Monster, but I still think it works. He's like, he really knows what he's talking about. And he came up with the thoughts get caught in my mouth, which is just brilliant. And Deborah just kicked its ass. But I also wanted it to be like weirdly psychedelic. I wanted it, I wanted it to look like a video from that era, from like 1967, 1966. If you ever watch like old clips of like the Ed Sullivan, when like the Mamas and the Papas were on, or the Birds, they would they would crossfade, like Cass Elliot singing, and then they would crossfade, like the camera would be panning over tiki lamps or something. Like I wanted it to have that weird 60s feel. I wanted it to look like something that came from War of the Gargantuas era. And then I did it, and I'm like, great, this looks exactly what I wanted it to look like, but it's not funny. It's a comedy. I have to make it fun. Then I had to go back, and then I was in the people that edited the show in post, Tony Perez and Stephen Cowan, and all those guys are so good. Like I would be in the editing bay with Glenn Garland, the editor, and then I would just like run out and just poke my head into the office and go, I need footage of baby birds. Give me some footage of baby birds.
I did want to ask you, because there's some crazy visuals going on with that whole song too, of like psychedelic, things. And
that's what I wanted it to do. I wanted it to keep being surprising.
So was that the whole reasoning behind the baby birds then, just to be surprising, or like? Yeah,
here's something you're not expecting.
You know what? True. Very true. I was not expecting.
Didn't see it coming.
It works. You know what? It works. It works.
Boy, does it work.
I'm still so distracted by the song that I didn't see baby birds coming.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I did want to ask you too, because the instruments that people are playing, I'm not a big music guy, so I don't recognize one of these instruments, because there's a guitar. Someone has
the box.
Yes. What is
the box? That is a theremin.
Okay.
Which is the instrument that goes.
Yes.
That is an actual theremin. The girl playing the theremin is our focus puller from our camera crew. She was like, I want to be in it. I was like, okay, you can be in the band.
Here's a theremin here.
Yeah, and she was great. She was terrific.
I love that.
And that's a big and that's really important to me. That everybody has you're down there for 6 weeks, you're working your balls off.
Mm-hmm.
everyone's having a good time, and we really do. This sounds trite, and maybe it is trite, but we try really hard to keep it a family environment. There's no assholes on the boat, is Rob's and my theory. Rob and I had a TV show before in the late 90s on MTV called Super Adventure Team, and with our friend Ken Daly, who is Charlemagne Cantrell, the toy store owner in episode 6.
Oh, okay.
He's also the guy at the end of episode 2 who's walking the dog, going, "That's illegal."
I love that guy.
Yeah, and he's the innkeeper in season 1. He shows up every season as something. That's Rob's and our friend Ken, and everybody has a good time, and it just said, you're going to be there all day. You're going to be there for a long amount of time. We've been in enough shitty situations that we all work really hard to keep it really open and friendly. And I think that shows up a little bit on screen, but I love that it's a show and an environment where the focus puller can go, "I want to be in this." I'm like, all right,
get in there.
Put on some clothes. Get in there. Exactly. It means a lot.
So some Roadhouse rules in there. Be nice.
Be nice.
Be nice. I like that.
Exactly.
It's
like life is like the double deuce.
It really is, in many ways.
Yeah.
Although lately it's been more like a quadruple deuce, but what also is nice? I love the miniature Willard's Mill. This is such a great little set here of there's the Stump Beer Factory with the whole Stump logo and a barrel on it that gets used later in the fight, which is just great. There's a certain thing. There's a doll factory.
Yes.
That actually I think has a doll that might show up later in an episode.
That's all. Yes. Well, yes, it is. That's all Molly Coffey.
Yes.
And her team. Molly Coffey is our art director. She's the real life Denise. If you saw her, you go, "Is that Denise's stunt double?" Nope, that's Molly Coffey. Denise's room is mostly Molly's personal stuff. If you saw the Evil Baby episode from season 2, you're okay. So you're right. Rob shot the second half of season 2.
Right.
Jack and Justin shot the first half.
Okay.
And then he shot all of season 3 because Jack and Justin are prepping a movie. And I was happy to have him. He's my best friend. But I love Jack and Justin too. They're terrific. So we were going to shoot the conclusion to episode 6, which was the Evil Baby episode. We were going to shoot the conclusion of it out in the woods. It was written to be out in the woods, and we had written a lot of stuff in the woods. We kind of gone there a lot, and we were really out of time. We were totally out of money, and we were really kind of screwed. And Molly and Rob and I were just kicking around ideas. We have to do something. And Molly came up to us and said, "Well, if it's a baby, what if it had a blanket fort?" And we're like, "Yeah, go." And she gave us this thing, and she had where we shot that was our makeup. We had a storefront for the special effects makeup unit, and she goes, "We can shoot it right here. I can build it right here." And we're like, "Go
for it."
And and what they created was 10,000 times better than I imagined it would be. And they put it together literally overnight. And it was the greatest set we had that season. I mean, it was just phenomenal.
Oh, I love Slayland. It's great.
Yeah. And that's all Molly Coffey. And that, again, when you have, I've worked on shows where the art director would never dream of pitching an idea like that, uninvited, because people love their power and people love their authority, and I have contempt for both. So that's where that pays off. People feel comfortable enough to come up with ideas, and that was I was really proud of Molly and her team, and really grateful to have them. And Miniature Willard's Mill is all Molly Coffey. I think the Doll Factory is a salute to a short film she might have made. It has some connection to something that she did.
Well, I know she made a short film via dolls, a musical about Magic the Gathering that featured dolls. So,
of course, I didn't know that, but let me just say, of course. She's the best. She's the greatest.
No, we had her on for an interview. She was actually by far my favorite interview I think we did. Don't tell John. Don't tell John. But she was like, she was so hilarious.
John's an intense customer.
No, I love John, and he's definitely listening.
I do too. He's like my brother.
And he's definitely listening to this, so we should definitely not talk about him. Because
John's my brother. I mean,
oh yeah, and but yeah, Molly.
I would never want to be on his bad side.
Molly and I talked about Fugglers for like way too long during our interview. Like we got totally sidetracked about just the decorations in Denise's room of just.
I should and I should probably say the show is so much better than it should be because of John McGinley. Not only what he obviously brings when he's on camera, but what he demanded of me as the writer. When I first pitched him the show, he had all of these questions about Stan's relationship with Claire. And I was like, I don't know. I just thought he should be a widow because you want him. He needs to be hurt. He needs to have had something terrible happen so that you would allow him to be the asshole that he is.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to have a flaw. In As Good as It Gets, Jack Nicholson has OCD, and that's supposed to say, well, he has OCD, so I'll let him be a jerk. The show House, he was in constant physical pain and had a limp, so you understood, well, he's a jerk. It's like the scales have to balance for you to feel any sympathy for a character.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So Stan had to be, I thought he'd be a widow, he's unmoored from his life. And John was like, no, but that relationship is his fulcrum for everything he does. And so I had to go back and really create this backstory and this relationship that John needed to play the character. And it made the show, it made the show what it is. I mean, it took the show from a 70 to a 90. I owe him a lot. I owe John is so good, and he demands that you be as good as he is. And him demanding that of me made me a better writer and made the show a better show.
Yeah, John is very much. We find him to be the MVP of the show.
Mm-hmm.
Not our traditional MVP. We usually reward most vile person, and that usually goes to Nate as Drinkwater. But
I see. It's funny you say that because it's a testament to how good they all are. My MVP varies. Some days they're like, it's Janet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Janet ropes it out of the park every time. Janet knows exactly where to go every time. She knows how to surf any kind of wave instinctively. I never have to give her any direction or hint, or she just nails it every time.
I feel like if we play D&D, I need Janet as a support class for me. She makes me think that I have no experience in acting, but I feel if I shared a scene with her, I would be okay because she
lead you along.
She gives so much during her scenes, and like she's the back and forth,
mm-hmm.
and she whenever
she's terrifyingly talented.
Yes,
she's my friend, and I know her really well, and she's just really gifted. It just comes out of her.
Right. Well, we should wrap this scene up so we can get back to the rest of the episode. But I did want to.
Anyway, so Eben wrote the song. I wanted to salute to War of the Gargantuas. Eben wrote the song. We shot the whole song, but like War of the Gargantuas, unlike War of the Gargantuas, we didn't show the whole song. But I thought it was a beautiful, and it's one of those things. If whether or not you know what I'm referencing doesn't impede your enjoyment of the piece. You laugh at stuff without knowing
mm-hmm.
why you're laughing. I understand. As a kid, I got maybe
40% of what I saw on Monty Python,
Right.
but I still loved it. So it falls into that category. But if you do know what we're talking about, it's all the best. As Joel Hodgson used to say about Mystery Science Theater, not everybody will get it, but the right people will get it.
So yeah, before we wrap this up, I did want to commend you for some of the ADR lines here of like, I lost my harmonica.
Yes.
And
that's my favorite one. I lost my harmonica!
Which is just people screaming random things.
Yeah. This episode is the best ADR lines.
Really I love like not knowing like, and then of course the line that makes me laugh every time I can't.
Whose shoes are these?
I love
that's Christopher Guest's brother saying that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I also like the let them fight. Like that makes me laugh every time. Just
thank you. That was me. Again, that was one of those things. Not everybody's going to get this. The right people will get it.
Nature finds a balance.
Let them fight.
Let them fight. Yeah, that was all me getting my my kaiju off.
No, we fully support getting your kaiju off, and we are going to get the kaiju off out of here back to our regularly scheduled programming right after this.
There's radio inside of me. It wants to play a song if I can think of one. I find I have so much to say. Music starts to play, but words there come none.
Anyway, yes, we are back. I hope you enjoyed our talk with Dana Gould. Very fun guy. We're hoping to have him on again very soon. But where were we in this giant-sized stand episode? Why, we were
back at Stan's, I believe.
Back at Stan's, yes. The miniature Willard's Mill has been interrupted by what we can only assume is the Kenny's moth form. We haven't seen it yet.
Well, we assume it's horrible.
Anyway, Evie and Stan are back at Stan's place, and they run into the bad dub twins, who are basically on coffee break.
Yeah, they are no longer badly dubbed.
Yeah, they like. I love this that they're just talking regularly, like the bad dubbing twin summoners of monsters is like their side gig or something.
I mean, they're doing water cooler talk. That's all.
They're talking about insurance.
Yeah,
like yes, like I told your brother, like if you get this coverage here in the plant, and then like they notice like, oh shit, I mean, hello. Kenny reaches in his part. It just makes me think that I really like any universe that can make me think that this happens in other movies too, that we don't get to see it.
Yes,
it's just in the off time, like they're in their off hours. Like the old mystical, the person that's doing the crystal ball, like, oh, duh, and the wolf, yes, by night you should become a wolf. Oh, wait, no, I gotta clock out, it's 5. No, it's all right.
Just leans over, farts. Oh,
yeah.
Hold that in all day.
So, it turns out that they are too late to stop Kenny. He has escaped.
But we do know that we can stop him.
Yes, because they are very helpful.
Yes.
I'm not sure what is their goal in this episode.
I think they just have to make sure that somebody transforms, because
they seem to also be kind of helpful to like, what do they need to do? Like, well, what do we need to do to break the curse? And I love how Evie asks this too. She's like, well, what do we have to do to break the curse? And she does a bunch of these hand motions, and it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they speak English.
They speak English. They're just poorly dubbed. Like, I don't understand. Like, even it's dumb when people like do that when people can't hear or something too, because of like they're never gonna get that. But even this is just like, what is she doing? But whatever it's doing, it seems to work because they or they just continue to understand normally.
Yeah,
they also make their own hand gestures as well, which is fun. And they say that they need to break the totem, the item,
the relic.
The relic, yes. And they're like, "Oh, great! Where's the relic?" And the line here that we hear is, "He ate it." Mm-hmm. But a funny story from New York Comic Con. This line here, apparently they made up the twins here made up all their own lines.
Oh, really?
Well, because they knew what the script was, but to accomplish the bad dubbing, they couldn't say any of that. So they just said some random stuff that was about the same length and time, so that they could just do it. And I was looking forward to in the wording because Janet shared the story at New York Comic Con, which was it was hard to do scenes straight against them because they kept saying stuff like the line they just in this scene when they said he ate it. The what they actually said was it's a pre-poop.
That's amazing.
And Janet's like, it's really hard to
keep
follow back
face
with that line with it's a pre-poop and just go into your next line like you didn't just hear the most funniest thing you've ever heard. I love it because it even relates to like, oh, he ate it. Well, it's like, well, it's a pre-poop. Like,
I think I'm going to start saying that in my everyday life. Just like, hey, do you want to go pre-pooping instead of out to dinner?
Hey, what happened to the apple pie left out on this on the table? It's a pre-poop now.
A pre-poop.
I'm sorry, I got hungry and now it's a pre-poop.
No one will understand except for us.
Basically,
and Stan fans.
Yeah, but anyway, they end up getting back to, or I should say, they make they're on their way to the miniature Willard's Mill opening, and before they get there, we just see the chaos that Kenny has created. Mm-hmm. People are running everywhere. It's just chaos. Drinkwater is behind a bench, just like cowering in fear, and we finally get a look at Kenny the Moth Monster.
It's pretty glorious.
It is glorious, this silly monster. It's awesome. Like, it's got like all these legs, like it's furry, the eyes are all bugged up, and it looks kind of like sticky. Mm-hmm. I want to say, like, he looks sticky.
Like he rolled underneath someone's couch first.
Yeah,
it's gross.
It's pretty rad.
I just feel like he always looks sticky, though.
That's probably true.
Kenny just seems like to be a very sticky person.
Kenny's
I don't
a sticky
know.
customer.
Yeah.
Like, if it was Stan, it would actually been less sticky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Angrier. More red.
So this is my question. Like, why does it seem David Koechner is always involved in, like, my favorite concept episodes of, like, the were-pony and the giant kaiju battle out of nowhere?
And he's what he brings to the table.
He's the common denominator in some of my favorite episodes of Stan Against Evil. But his rampage goes unimpeded for a little bit.
Well, I believe like Stan and Evie and Leon discuss on how to actually beat him.
Right, because Stan and Evie come up and
doesn't Stan like actually like just talk about gutting him?
Well, it's like I say we get him, we cut open his stomach on the ground and cut open his stomach, and like that's your solution for everything. Which
I hope it's not.
Well, I mean, it's not a bad solution, but
it's like if we don't ask soon he will destroy all of miniature Willard's Mill.
The stakes are high. The children spent a lot of time on this.
And I love that. Like, we need that thing that makes you throw up. And what does Drinkwater say? Something about a host in Bravo?
I don't remember.
Damn it. Now I can't remember. But Leon takes a shot at a Bravo host for whatever reason. And he's like, no, Ipecac. We need Ipecac. I was like, well, I have 2 super soakers filled with spoiled milk in the car.
Why?
Let's go to our man, Terry Jeffords.
Why?
Why are those in his trunk?
Why are they in super soakers? I'm so confused.
That's so gross. Like, I don't understand what's the deal here.
Does that make Leon win MVP just for that?
I mean, I don't know. Like, usually most vile person I ascribe to, usually it's whoever's being sexually most creepy, or... I
mean, Stan does beat up an Asian guy in this episode.
Yeah, or like who is being very, just kind of offensive in general. And I think the Super Soaker thing is just so weird, and I have so many questions about it, that I can't rightly categorize it in a way.
I'm really confused here, guys. Like, so you're saying you don't keep super soakers full of spoiled milk in your car?
No, but I do keep live hand grenades, but that's for later.
Is this a Southern thing? Do us Midwesterners just not get it?
Apparently, I mean, I guess it's just because cheese is so sacred to you, where we just, like, we willy-nilly cheese down here.
Like, if we want milk, we just get it from the tap. I mean, honestly.
Look, I mean, like any good Wisconsinite, I keep water balloons full of whiskey in my car. Like, that's normal.
I think that's just the human race, Nick. I think that we all do that.
You never know when you're going to get into a whiskey war. I love that they come back and they have, not only do they have this crazy plan, they don't even get to use it.
No, they don't. They
just set it up. They get the super soakers. They have a big dramatic opening of like, ready, aim, and then who should show up but our friend Lenny the gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh. And I really did forget, like, even though this was my favorite moment in the trailer of season 3, right. I really forgot, like, that's right, the gorilla guy. Like,
how can you forget the giant gorilla?
Well, not giant, like, just regular-sized man in a gorilla suit.
Yeah, but they're in miniature Willard's Mill, so they're giant in comparison.
Right.
My favorite part of miniature Willard's Mill is when he knocks down Stump Tower.
Yes. And like the Stump Brewery, and he has like the barrel that they hit each other with. So the Lenny and Kenny proceed to fight. Although now I think it's Lenny and Kenny.
Yeah,
Kenny and Lenny are fighting, and the fight here is the stuff dreams are made of.
The commentary, you guys.
Oh, the ADR lines are the best.
Holy shit,
the crying laughing. Crying.
I can't find my harmonica.
That's my favorite. There's also stuff like whose shoes are these? People just yelling random shit. Like just
and then every once in a while we do cut back to Evie, Leon, and Stan.
Yes. And the running commentary they have of like, what the fuck is going on? Because this fight takes so many turns of like, they at first Evie says like, oh no, I've seen Kenny when he's like this. Well, not like this. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? Super violent? Was like, because I mean,
they showed him that he's probably a bit of a drunk, so maybe.
Sure, but now isn't the time to joke about domestic violence.
Yeah, but
seems
not now when?
Seems like a weird place to drop that. Like, and then, like, he hits him with the stump beer barrel. The Asian shopkeeper comes up. And I love this because
is great.
We don't see him at first. All we hear is the line, what's that? Nature finds a balance. And then suddenly he just comes in off frame for no reason and just whispers like, let them fight.
Oh, it's fantastic.
And like, nature finds a balance between a man in a monkey suit and a larva monster. It's the natural order of things. The dance as old as time. And I love it too is like there's a moment where they even like he takes a cross from miniature church and
I think Kenny takes it first, I believe.
Yeah, Kenny takes it and he uses it on Lenny.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, wait, he's
afraid of the cross?
Wait, he's afraid of a cross? What? Then he takes a hospital symbol and like it takes it on Kenny, and then suddenly Kenny freaks out too. Wait, Kenny's afraid of the cross. Like they're trying to
all over the
track
place.
the logic of this fight. And man, I love it. I love the slow motion, the grandiose, the big stuff. I forget like the fight ends with the big hit with the crane.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that because someone yells out,
I want chicken!
They got bored, I guess.
And they, Kenny hits the ground, Lenny's on top, and he stomps on his chest, and he's about to, and the stakes are pretty high because he's about to I guess, kill him with a fake rock.
Yeah.
Which I don't think is enough.
Like, it's probably paper mache.
Yeah.
It's not going to do much.
But also, why is there a fake boulder? Like, because I didn't get a good look at it, but it did look like a fake, like, it wasn't like a part of a building. It looked like a big fake boulder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is there a big boulder, like building-sized boulder in Willard's Mill that's like a geographical feature that like was featured in the Willard's book? Because I did not see that before. And I love the next line here because it just stops with Lenny just taking off the mask and he's like,
"What am I doing?"
That's a great question.
What are you doing?
I feel like there's not really any answers, but I'm glad that you asked it. Like that was
You're self-aware enough to realize that this is weird.
I'm coming home, Margaret. Which I love. Like Lenny just shows up to this fight and like fights the larva monster for no reason.
I mean, he was having sex with a mailbox before, so
That's true.
And, but this is his rock bottom moment. This is him reaching bottom and then bouncing back. Like this is him. This is his come to Jesus moment, really. And he's like, "Oh no, what
have I become?
What have I done?
I've become those princesses I've hated for so long."
Here I am fighting fighting whether I assume he assumes is another man in a. That's the okay. He thinks it's another monster in a suit, corning in on his action, and he won't let him take his pride like those fucking princesses. So that's why he's in the fight. And
I'm a little worried that he beat up the person in the princess suit.
Right? So there is a darker element here rather than, or it could just be absurd for no reason.
Yeah, it's
I'm
probably
going to
more
go with
likely
the absurd for no reason.
Yeah.
But I love that he looks at himself in the mirror like, this isn't me fighting random lava monsters in miniature sets. This is beneath me. Too many party animal dress up people have ended up right here, and I swore I'd never be one of them. Like every town has a gorilla story. Kenny throws up because of the stomach stomps.
Mm-hmm.
In a great just zoom in, the camera zooms in enough on his tongue heaving. The statue just lands and breaks, which is great because I kind of like that the fact that they were like the Stan crew didn't really need to be here.
No.
Like Stan and Evie,
like it resolved itself.
It's like, what? That solved itself. All right. And Kenny is transformed back. He shakes hands with Lenny and is like, no hard feelings. That's a pretty rad fight. Which I can only assume means Kenny was kind of trapped in his monster form and he remembers everything, but he just couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
He is confused on what day it is. Like, what day is it? Like, oh, it's Saturday. Oh, I didn't miss Gracie's birthday. And, he's like, the happy ending here is that they get Lenny the gorilla like, hey, we have a little girl that needs, someone for a party tomorrow. And he's like, I'll do it. And
which
of course,
is also ADR'd off screen. It's weird.
Yeah, and it's like, and of course they all start to wave to him, and it's like, yay! And then the music starts la 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 la, and then suddenly they all start waving towards the camera. And there's like a sunset in the or a sunrise in the background, and it looks to me like a Japanese commercial actually of for some sort of just weird and creepy people smiling and waving for no reason. And they I think even someone asked like, who are we waving at? Like just because even Lenny is there, so they're definitely not waving at him.
No,
he's in Lenny's in the shot. So, and then, of course, at the very end credits, right when we get the Georgia Pacific logo, we hear, of course, the greatest line from this show once more, which is, I can't find my harmonica.
Oh, man.
That was 303, guys. That was Larva My Life. What do we think?
Amazing. Just amazing.
I love it. Patience, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it's definitely up there as far as my favorite episodes. I still hold fast that episode 4 of season 2 is my favorite of all time. But
Is that Jeffrey Combs, Girls'
yes.
Night?
Yeah. No. Yes. And I just love that episode so much. But I think it's because it has the Night of the Living Dead references. But this one is just so good. I mean, as far as season 3 goes, this one and the Hex Files, man,
it's a good start.
Yeah,
it's
really good.
It's a fantastic start to what I think is going to be an amazing season. This one had me at Gremlins. As soon as I saw the Gremlin references, I was like, I'm all in. I am doubling down on this episode without a doubt.
I really think this one is making a run for knocking Werepony off of my favorites list.
It's pretty impressive considering that's the one episode you've talked about the most.
Well, I keep coming back to that line of the pony needs blood. I can't hear that line without laughing. Like, I'll still think to myself, and it has the Kanye line in it.
I'm a big gay baby.
And I'm a big gay baby. Like that. See, these 2 episodes are filled with such memorable lines. Cause I love the let them fight is really on the pony needs blood
it's
level.
Pretty good.
Like, just let them fight. But yeah, oh man, what a great episode, guys. We are excited to continue for season 3. Season 3 is shaping up to be, I mean, for me, probably going to be my favorite season as far as just the episodes we've seen. I think top-notch stuff.
I mean, we still have nubbins and vampires just from what we've seen of the trailer.
Yes!
Oh,
yes!
Puppets and vampires. I'm so excited.
Maybe vampire puppets.
You just
one
made
can only
me
hope.
so happy.
Vam puppets?
Smiled. That one episode of Angel can't be the only one.
It's true.
But yes, thank you so much for listening, everybody. Patience, would you like to tell the people where they can find you and your content before we get out of here?
Absolutely. You can find me at prof.patience on the Twitter, on the Instagram, on the Facebook, and as always, you can find me on Deliberations of Doom on oneofus.net.
Fantastic. And you can always find us at any of our social media, including at Pod Against Evil on Instagram and Twitter. You can find us on our Facebook, Pod Against Evil. You can email us at podagainstevil@gmail.com if you have any questions or would just like to discuss some Stan stuff with us. That is a great place to get in contact with us. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by subscribing to us on iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you
just
are
emailing us a check.
Or email us a blank check. Go, like any kids listening, go into your parents' room, get out the purse, and give me those green.
And then put that purse away. Find your grandparents. Get their purse out.
Get those green little pieces of paper. Send them to me, and I'll give you a balloon that says "sucker" on it.
We also take whiskey.
We
almost exclusively take whiskey. Like,
if you send us money, we're going to use it to buy whiskey.
Yeah, just cut out the middleman. But you can also, give us a rating on iTunes, helps us out. Those 5-star reviews really help us out with visibility. And of course, just say nice things about us. We thrive on compliments over here. Especially me. Got low self-esteem, so help me out so I can keep doing this, guys, please. Anyway, after that giant episode, I'm ready to just take a nap.
Yeah?
Yeah, well, I really can't talk anymore. I think the words are getting caught in my throat. Just a little bit. Oh, no! Everyone, start the music.
Who are we waving at?
La 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 la.